Hi everyone, it's Raquel Bowman here, and today I'm here to share with you a new layout for Hip Kit Club. I was super excited when I saw this absolutely stunning paper in the July kits, and I knew that I wanted to use it on a page, but if you know my style, you know that I don't necessarily work with a whole pattern paper background. So when I saw my theme for this week's blog post was beautiful blooms, I thought that I'd make a feature of this gorgeous floral cut file which says happily ever after. So what I did was I cut that out on my Cameo to begin with, and when I cut out the large sort of titles on my Cameo, or anything really at all, and I know the size photo I have, I just draw a square, or a rectangle, sorry, that's the same size as my photo, and I'll place the cut file on my software, and then I'll place that rectangle that I've drawn to see how it will work if I put it on a layout. So if the size of the cut file will work with the size of the photo. And doing that gave me the ability to make sure that the size of my cut file wasn't too big, or the size of my photo was going to work. But as I've gone through and had a look, so my idea basically, this is as far as I've gotten in terms of ideas. I knew that I wanted to use that beautiful art class paper by Kim Watson from the Happy Life collection to cut out this bloom and happily ever after title. I've got a wedding photo which I haven't scrapbooked yet, which is black and white, which when you use a lot of colour like this and multiple sort of bright colours, it's handy to use a black and white photo because then it won't detract from the colour, won't be too overpowering. So I've got that's a little dot of the eye, so the happily ever after. But then I was going through some of the bits and pieces and I saw these gorgeous Heidi Swap frames which I was wanting to use, and I sort of questioned whether I'd be able to frame us and then have this underneath. I just don't know if that's too bold for me, because I'm not normally, I like colour but normally softer colours, or maybe that grey might work. So what I'm basically going to do is, this is my sort of idea, and I'm going to put you into a quicker speed and just talk you through my process.
Okie dokie, so I begin this layout by grabbing out one of the exclusive ephemera packs and just going through and trying to find little bits and pieces that I can form a cluster with. Now, as I said, my theme was about beautiful blooms, so I did grab some of the floral elements from the pack, as well as a gorgeous little speech bubble, and I was trying to find any words that might represent my husband and I. So I found one that says you and me. I used the chipboard pack from the Project Life 3-sheet kit, pack, and I think that was in the Project Life kit. And I am using one that says something about being lucky, and then one at the top I think the cloud says about maybe forever and ever, or something sweet like that, and I thought that would be nice. So I'm working on creating some clusters and doing some embellishing on a diagonal. I wanted to really balance out the heaviness of the title and the photo, and to do that I felt like doing a diagonal design would create that balance that I was after. I also decided to, in that diagonal embellishing, cut out some of the flowers from that exclusive paper, which I also used in my layout I shared last week, and those flowers are just gorgeous. I love the black one that I'm cutting out now because it just gives you that pop of contrast that with all of those bright colors. So I cut out a couple of those, and I save you from seeing all of that, so they're all cut out now, and I've just arranged them on the page in little groupings again on that diagonal. And then I thought I needed a little bit more of a contrast, so I checked on the reverse of one of the papers that I'd used, and there was this really cool black and white diamond shape similar to what the stencil is. And so I cut out a couple of those just to add to the clusters that I had happening at the top left of the photo and the bottom right of that title. So I'm grabbing my phone now, and I took a few photos of the clusters and where I had arranged them. And that was basically so I didn't forget, because I decided that I wanted to add some whip spackle to the background of the page. Now, because the stencil, I only wanted to add a few of these diamonds, and I wanted to scatter them on the diagonal. So I used some washi tape that I had to mask off just one of the diamonds on that stencil, and I just used that particular diamond to stencil on just a few on my page. I thought about not masking it and just applying it, but because I just wanted one at a time and in different areas, it was just easier for me to use a little bit of washi tape and do it that way. So that was nice, quick and easy, and I was able to achieve the look that I wanted. Those Heidi Swap frames are slightly smaller than my 4x6 photos, so it meant that I had to cut down my photos slightly, but a lot of the photo was, you know, just space around the edge, just with wherever we were, so it didn't make a big difference if I had cut a little bit of that off. I didn't cut a head off or any legs or limbs when I was cutting around the photos, so that was fine. And I've applied a foam sheet behind the photo as well, and the frame, just to pop it off the page that little bit. Now, because that photo area has that dimension, and I wanted to layer the cut file over the top, or partially over the top of that frame, it meant that I had to add a foam adhesive to the area of the cut file, which was going to be on top of that base of my page, that white cardstock. So it meant that I just had to grab out one of my foam sheets, not foam sheets, sorry, my foam tape rolls, and just cut that into small sections and pop it on the back of the cut file. Now, does anyone do what I'm doing right here and store alphas or extra adhesive on their hands? It's so handy. I think I used that little piece that I had and continued to use it throughout this layer. On your hand, where else will you put it, you know? Anyways, so I've popped the title down, and now I'm working on those clusters. Of course, the whip spackle has dried, and that's, I think, what I love about the product as well, is that it dries so quickly. There's that piece of foam tape again. Now it's on my finger. I add the chipboard to the top left of the photo frame, and I added a bit of extra adhesive just because I found that I'd moved it a little bit and it lost a bit of that tack that it normally should have. And I'm also, when I'm applying the flowers to the page, some of them I'm adding with a foam adhesive, and some I'm just adhering with that liquid glue in my fine line bottle, depending on whether I wanted it popped off the page or not. But when I am choosing, I'm sort of just wanting that multi-dimensional look. So now I'm working on that bottom cluster of embellishments below the bottom right of that title, and I use lots of the die cut ephemera. One of the tabs, that blue tab, is cut out from one of the Project Life cards, and then I realized that I wanted to tuck that flower in, and I'd forgotten to pop that in, so I had to try and get that under there. I was going to put, and I do add foam tape to the back of this, but then once I popped it down, I realized that I couldn't tuck it under the title like I wanted to, so I end up peeling that off the page. And what I've done off camera as well just then was I've also machine stitched around the edge of the page. I felt like it just needed something a little bit extra, so I did that quickly. The blooms and things, just as you can see, tucking and weaving amongst each other just to create that bit of extra detail. The leaf, and I'm also folding up and inwards just to give it some dimension. I really like these rubber charms in these kits, so they're Amy Tan ones, and I added a couple of those to the page. I added that XO in the bottom right corner and then that little heart next to the title. And that nearly finishes us up on this page. I add a couple of these enamel hearts, and then I'm trying to think what I do next. I think that that's it. That little love this. And now I'm just showing you a slow version of the dimension that this page has. And that's our finished layout. So I'm going to say a big thank you for watching, and also Hip Kit Club, the August kits are nearly or have begun shipping to people, and there's also a design team call going as well. The team is a fantastic team to be on, and I definitely recommend having a go. So that's ending on the 26th of August, and I'll see you all soon. Bye everyone.